Assalamualaikum. Good day to everyone. Today we'll be exploring the fascinating world of international human resource management with a specific focus on a culture context. As a business expands globally, managing human resource across different cultures become a critical challenge. Culture plays a significant role in shaping world values, communication style, leadership approaches, and organizational structure. In globalized workforce, human resource professionals must navigate culture differences to create inclusive, efficient, and productive work environments. Chapter 2 covers 7 learning objectives, which are first, to understand definition of culture, second, to explore about Hofstede culture, third, to understand long-term and short-term culture, fourth, about globe 8 culture dimensions, and next, we will learn about 7 dimensions of temperance, and then after that we explore the impact of culture context on human resource management practice, and last we'll cover about culture change. Okay, we start for learning objective number 1, to understand definition of culture. Culture grow over time. Culture change according to time change, culture expand and integrated, and culture growth in international business context. So there is no predominant consensus on the exact meaning of culture. So in this slide, give you 2 definitions from the main researcher on the culture. First one, from Colcon and Korber. Colcon and Korber define culture as a pattern way of thinking, feeling, reacting, acquired and transmitted mainly by symbols, constituting the distinctive achievement of human groups, including their embodiments in artifacts. The essential core of culture consists of traditional ideas and especially their attached value. Second definition of culture by Sin say that culture consider various levels of culture: artifact, creation, value, and underlying assumptions. So there is no exact meaning of culture. As you can see here, picture show the element of culture. So I would like to describe more about Shin definition of culture. Artifacts refer as a described visible organizational structure and process. For example, organization structure. A culture value or its idea about what is good, right, fair, and just. And then third level is described as underlying assumption, which are often presumed to be self-evident. They include conviction, perception, thoughts, and feeling, which are usually invisible and unconscious. Moving to learning objective 2 on Hofstede's culture dimensions. Hofstede culture cross-dimension describe and compare organizational behavior between countries and culture. We have 3 main points here. Hofstede culture dimension framework identifies 6 key dimensions of culture, for example, individualism versus collectivism, power distance, and etc. that influence workforce behavior and management style. Second thing is about global impact on global business. This study helps organizations understand culture difference to improve communication, leadership, and decision making in multinational setting. And they study also comparative analysis, where countries and organizations can compare their culture tendency using Hofstede model to adapt management strategy accordingly. Okay, next we move to the detail Hofstede 5 dimensions. Okay, the power distance dimension represents skill which the member of the culture accept that power is not distributed equally in institution. Next is about uncertainty avoidance, represents the extent to which member of the culture feel threatened by uncertain, ambiguous, and unstructured situation and try to avoid them. Culture with a strong uncertain avoidance are characterized by strict belief and behavior codes and do not tolerate people and ideas that derive from this. Point number 3 about masculinity. Masculinity stands for society in which social gender roles are clearly distinct. Men are supposed to be assertive, tough, and focused on material success. Women are supposed to be more modest, tender, and concerned with the quality of life. Point number 4 on femininity stands for the society in which the social gender role overlap. Both men and women are supposed to be modest, tender, and concerned with the quality of life. For Confucianism, this is a philosophy and belief system from ancient of China, which laid the foundation of much of Chinese culture. Behaviors such as respect, altruism, and humanity. The family was the most important group for Confucian ethics, and devout family could only strengthen the society surround it. Okay, next we have long-term culture characteristic. Long-term orientation culture is characterized by value that are pragmatic and future-oriented, like a persistent adaptability and desire for rewards. Members of soft culture respect tradition and social obligation, willingly to sacrifice current benefit for future gains. This most of the time occur in Asia country, which demonstrate high value for long-term orientation. Some of the characteristics that we can explain are a great endurance, persistent in pursuing goal, position of ranking based on the status, there are adaptation of tradition to modern condition, they respect social and status obligation within limits, they have higher saving rate and high investment activity, they have a readiness to subordinate oneself to a purpose and the feeling of the shame. This is example of long-term culture. We have Asian four tigers. Asian four tigers are developed Asian economy of Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan. The role of Confucianism has been used to explain the successful of four Asian tigers, which we can conclude that similarity to Protestant work ethic theory in the West that promoted by German sociology Mark Weber in his book of Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. The culture of Confucianism is said to have been compatible with industrialization because it values stability, values hard work, discipline and loyalty, and also respect toward authority figures. Moving on, short-term cultures characterized by Personal candor and stability, avoiding loss of face, respect social and status obligation without consideration of the cost, low saving rate, and also low investment activity. They expect quick profits. People in this culture respect for tradition, and they also prefer to have a greetings, present, courtesy based on reciprocity. So, two countries can be represent this kind of culture are United States and France, where they value culture tradition. They want a quick return on investment and present focus on strategy. Moving to globe 8 culture dimensions. Interestingly, this study has been used worldwide. This study have 8 culture dimensions. Number 1 is institutional collectivism. This represents the degree to which organizational and societal institutional practice encourage and reward collective distribution of resource and collective actions. Second is in a group collectivism. So this point explains about degree to which individuals express pride, their loyalty, and cohesiveness in their organization or families. Point number 3, or culture dimension number 3, is on uncertainty avoidance. This extent to which is the society, organization, or group relies on the social norms, rule, procedure to alleviate unpredictability of the culture of the future event. Next, point number 4, or culture dimension number 4, is power distance, where people in the culture collective expect power to be distributed equally. Point number 5, gender egalitarianism. This one represents the degree to which a collective minimize gender inequality. Next, assertiveness, degree which individuals are assertive, confrontational, and aggressive in their relation with others. Point number 7, performance orientations. Performance orientations represent the degree to which a collective encourage and reward group members for performance improvement and excellence. Last, culture dimension number 8 is humans orientations, to the degree to which a collective encourage and reward individual for being fair, altruism, generous, caring, and kind to others. In conclusion, I can say that globe study concentrate taking into considerations in various culture level. They study at individual, organizational level, and society level. Next, we have 7 dimensions of temporariness and THD study. This study adaptation from Hofstede globe dimension, Hofstede and globe dimensions. This study have 7 culture dimensions. First, universalism versus particularism. This one refer to focus on the role and consistency, or represent universalism versus relationship and expectation, or it can refer to particularism. Second dimension is individual versus communitarianism. Prioritize personal goal and independence, individual versus group harmony and collective success, communitarianism. Dimension number 3, specific versus diffuse. Okay, separation work and personal life, specific versus blending them together, refer to diffuse. Next, point number 4, culture dimension number 4. Under temporariness is neutral versus affective, which is keep moving, keeping emotion, restraint, neutral versus open expression, them affective. Okay, point number 5, achievement versus ascriptions, earning status through performance achievement versus receiving it based on the background, age, or connection aspiration. Point number 6, sequential versus synchronized, viewing time in a line, a step-by-step manner, sequential versus it is as interconnected and flexible, synchronized. Internal versus external is the last dimension under temporariness. It's referred to being individual control their environmental, internal versus being. Moving to learning objective number 6, on impact of cultural context on human resource management practice. This slide presents a table explaining how culture differences impact human resource management practice. This table divided into 4 human resource practice, which are recruitment and selection, training and development, compensation, and task distribution with a specific impact of culture. Okay, let's see one by one how culture impact recruitment and selection. In a society low on a group collectivism, individual achieve represent important selection criteria. In society on high group collectivism, the emphasis in the recruiting process is more on team-related skill than one individual competency. For training and development, theory impact on in the society high gender egalitarianism, women have same chance for vertical career advancement as men. In a society low on gender egalitarianism, female managers are rare. For compensation, in a society with high uncertainty avoidance, employees tend to be rather risk adverse and prefer fixed compensation package or seniority-based plan. In a society low on uncertain avoidance, employees tend to be rather risk-taking and accept high income variability through performance-based pay. Last, we have task distribution. How culture impact on task distributions? Society high on collectivism tend to emphasize group work. But for the society with a high on individualism, rather attribute individual responsibility in a work system. So this table highlight how culture value influence management decision in different work environments. Okay, we now at the last learning objective number 7 on cultural change. Why culture change? Here we have 4 main points and a reason why culture change. Culture actually are not confined to given territories. So this means new challenge for international human resource management. Okay, we move to point number 1. Why culture change? It's because of international connectedness. Okay, advance in communication technology and travel have linked people worldwide, fostering culture exchange and share their experience. Next, How culture change? It's because of global economic coordinations. Countries are working together to align economic policies, trade arrangement, and financial regulation, creating interdependent markets. More than that, harmonization of law and regulation between countries. Nations are standardizing a rule of the trade, human rights, environment protection, and business operation to facilitate cooperation and reduce conflict. And last here, migration, the movement of people across border for work, education, or refugee bring cultural diversity. This influencing social norms and business practice in host country. For example, European community standardize of management practice will not be easily achieved, and adaptation of the practice to underlying local condition would be required. The meaning of the culture difference may be safely given little consideration. For Japan, workforce are aging. In Japan and Italy, in Japan, one of the third people age around 70 to 74, and approximately 50% of the people age 65 to 69 years old are currently working. Okay, class, we finally arrived to the last slide on tutorial questions. So each of you are compulsory to complete this tutorial question in a Canva, complete it as a poster, and then submit in the ITEL. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, please ask in Telegram group for this course, International Human Resource. So that's all from me. Thank you very much. See you again. Have a nice day. Bye.